First, we're going to start with the panel with Nora Bent and Jonathan Gardner.
Good afternoon, Chair Kennedy, Chair Livingstone, and members of the committee. Thank you for holding today's important hearing. My name is Nora Bent, and I'm the Director of Government Affairs and Strategic Partnerships at the ARC of Massachusetts. And I'm here today to testify in support of an act relative to supported decision-making for certain adults, H261 and S155. Thanks to Rep. Livingstone, Rep. Finn, Senator Lovely for sponsoring this bill, and to the 50-plus legislators who signed on in support. I'm pleased to be here today alongside Jonathan Gardner, with whom I have the honor of co-chairing the Massachusetts Supported Decision-Making Coalition, comprised of dozens of individuals and organizations, many of whom you'll hear from today and submit and get written testimony from. This coalition brings together self-advocates, family members, and organizations that support individuals with disabilities, older adults, those with mental health conditions, and others. I want to be brief in my remarks to ensure that we hear from the experts, those with lived and professional experience. But I want to use my time to set the stage and share a few critical pieces of information about supported decision-making. First off, this model enables individuals to make their own decisions with the support of trusted people in their life. This is an alternative to guardianship for those who do not need that level of support. It does not and it will not replace guardianship for those who need it. In addition to the dignity and independence that SDM can bring to an individual's life, it also saves the state time and resources from unnecessary guardianship hearings. For many people, guardianship is too restrictive and they deserve to have other options that respect their independence while providing support. SDM is a widely known, understood, and supported option. 23 states and DC provide a legal framework for SDM agreements, and many people in Massachusetts already use SDM. Several national organizations are also supportive, including the American Bar Association and many others. Just within the last month, a Massachusetts state commission that reviewed transitions from acute care settings endorsed SDM as an important option. Though people already use SDM, the bill before you today is vital to ensure that everyone who wants to utilize this option can do so. Making this bill law would help ensure that SDM is recognized widely in our communities as a safe and dignified option, particularly in healthcare and financial institutions. This bill provides a legal framework to the model, clearly defining roles, creating protections against abuse, and establishing trainings to ensure that all youth approaching 18 are made aware of SDM as an option prior to their IEP meetings. We thank you for your time and urge the committee to make this the session that we pass this important bill. And with that, I'll turn it over to Jonathan.
Hello, my name is Jonathan Gardner. I serve as the co-chair of the Supported Decision-Making Coalition in Massachusetts. I am also a cancer survivor who happens to have autism, and I am the official ambassador for Operation House Call, a program that trains medical students to provide better care for people with disabilities, intellectual disabilities, and autism. I first learned about supported decision-making when I was 16. My parents had gone to workshops and brought it to me as an alternative to guardianship. It made sense right away. I wanted to stay in charge of my own life. Supported decision-making allowed me to choose people I trust to help me think through my decisions while I remained the decision-maker. It gave me dignity and the freedom to stay in control of my own life. This matters to me because my school years were hard and traumatic. In second grade, my IEP was ignored, I was bullied, and when I became overwhelmed, I was restrained by teachers. I developed PTSD from those experiences. My mom finally put me out and homeschooled me. That gave me back both my choice and confidence. That's why supported decision-making fits me so well in my life. I know what it's like to have no control, and I never want to go back to that. When I choose supporters, I pick people who respect me and believe in me. My supporters help me in different parts of my life, like healthcare, work, friendship, finances, and even relationships. A good supporter listens and helps me understand my options and supports me with pros and cons. Most of all, they help me feel safe and respected. With support decision making, I always make the final decision. The power of support decision making became life saving when I was diagnosed with Ewing sarcoma. Chemotherapy was brutal, and at one point I told my mom I wanted to give up. Instead of telling me I had no choice, she spoke to me as my supporter. Together with my doctors, we created a plan that cared for both my mental and physical health. Having that choice gave me the strength to keep fighting. Without support decision making, I might have shut down or refused treatments. Instead, I survived and I'm here today. That's why I'm here speaking not just about support decision making, but also about the healthcare standard bill. No one should be discriminated, overlooked, or denied healthcare because they have a disability. I've lived through both autism and cancer. I know how much it matters when providers take the time to listen, to respect me, and to include me in my care. I'm just taking a look at it. Training healthcare providers to understand and work with people with disability is not optional, it's critical. Support decision making and the healthcare training bill both come down to the same thing: dignity, respect, and the belief that every life matters. Support decision making is not meant to replace guardianship, it is simply another option. With the right supports, people like me can make their own choices, lead their own lives, and even survive the hardest battles, just like I did. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jonathan. And Nora, thank you for your testimony. Any questions?
No question, just a comment. Jonathan was a constituent of mine, and I want to say great job on testifying. You have done tremendous work around this issue, and you are definitely a role model for so many like you. And continue shining bright, because you're doing such a fantastic job. So thank you.
Well, thank you for those kind comments.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay. Up next, we have Barbara L'Italian.
Hi, my name is Nancy Gardner. You just heard from my son, Jonathan, and I want to thank you for listening to his testimony, because his voice is at the heart of why these bills matter so much to me. I'm here today in strong support of the supported decision-making bill. This bill is not only important to us, it has been life-changing. When Jonathan was 16, our school district encouraged me to pursue full guardianship for him simply because he was on medication. But I know my son, and I know guardianship was not the right path. A piece of paper would never force Jonathan to do something he didn't want to do. This is how we found out about supported decision-making. I am privileged to be one of Jonathan's chosen supporters. When he was diagnosed with Ewing sarcoma at 18, we were already using supported decision-making. I cannot overstate how vital it was during that time. Jonathan's doctors didn't know what supported decision-making was when he got sick. I had to explain that I wasn't just his parent, but I was a support person that he had chosen. When Jonathan wanted to stop treatment, my role wasn't to decide for him. It was to help gather information, break it down, and make sure he had what he needed to make his own choice. Because of that support, he continued treatment, and that decision saved his life. As a parent, my greatest fear has always been what happens when my husband and I are no longer here. Supported decision-making gives me peace knowing Jonathan's voice will always be heard, and that he will be surrounded by trusted people he has chosen. Supported decision-making has empowered him to grow into the confident advocate he is today. He is the guide of his own life. I also want to strongly support the Healthcare Standards Bill. Jonathan's cancer diagnosis took over 5 months to get. During that time, we went from doctor to doctor, and instead of listening to Jonathan's voice and pain, most of the focus was on the fact he had autism. His symptoms were dismissed or explained away as behavior instead of being taken seriously as signs of illness. That delay could have cost him his life. And even after his cancer diagnosis, Jonathan has been turned away from needed procedures simply because of his disability. When providers are trained to look past the label and really listen, all patients can get the care they need and deserve, and sometimes that care can mean the difference between life and death. These two bills matter so much to me. Supported decision-making matters to me because it lets people with disabilities and older adults make their own choices with the trusted people they choose to support them. Supported decision-making is not meant to replace guardianship. It is to add another choice because more options mean more people can find what works best for them. The Healthcare Standard Bill matters because patients get the care they deserve, and providers gain confidence in treating people with disabilities. Both these bills need to be law because they can give every person the chance to live their best life. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Nancy. Any questions?